Good to look at you. Look at that beard.
He outdone you. He's longer than yours.
John, I never could keep up with him. So it's
What a
all
guy.
good. You guys are looking great.
Yeah, you too. Good to be able to talk to you, Just locking up yourself in your house and not seeing anybody's for the birds.
Oh man, look, it's killing me. I'm glad it's hunting season. I'm getting ready to go hunting next month and get myself out of the house and into the woods and do some things. I'm being cooped up and not traveling, not seeing people. It's for the birds.
Maybe you can get uplifted. I love your uplift series. I can't believe it. Once a week.
Listen, it was very organic, and it was in response to everything that had happened. We'd had COVID, and then we had the civil unrest with George Floyd, and people were just in a really negative funk. And the old saying was, man, you just need a hug. Just people just wanted to hear something positive, and all they were getting off the news was negative. And I can't feed 300 million Americans, but as for me and my house, this little pea patch that God gave me, the 18,000, I can give them a positive word each week to tell them it's going to be okay. And I can make it about business and how to improve their business, but also put something morally uplifting. If all you eat every day is negativity, what do you think you're going to put out? And when we were named an essential service, man, I got hate mail from members who were saying, how dare you celebrate the fact that realtors are an essential service or real estate is essential? While I had on the others, people are dying. You're putting 15, 20,000 people on the streets all to spread COVID. And then I was getting emails from people praising the fact that the association had fought for them. All these people on both sides of the fence. It sounded like Washington. And the thing was, is some of you guys just need a big hug. It's all you're digesting every day is a negative opinion of something. And so let me tell you, we started Uplift in response to George Floyd, in response to COVID. And I might have 30 or 40 people or 60 or 70 viewing at one time, but it always hits 1,000 to 3,000 views. And 1 o'clock and it got so that I have viewers now for Uplift in Brazil, Panama, California, Atlanta, New Mexico, Singapore, all over the world. People are logging in their time zone just to catch Uplift. Never expected or shot for any of that. It just was a byproduct.
That's the power of social media, right? That people don't need to see it immediately. The algorithms play with it. It goes to people at different times of day and so forth. So even if you only had, I only got 5 or 6 people, that's not the end of the story, right?
No, I love it. So my barometer, honestly, is 40. If I have 44 people watching, that equals 1,000 views.
Yeah.
If I have 60 to 70 people watching, that equals 3,000 views. And it just keeps on going. And Uplift got to the point where it's predominant at Aura. It's what everybody goes and looks for. And one last thing, go ahead. One last note of comedy is people have started trying to ask me if I'd advertise on it, and I say no. You can't, I won't mention any association functions, no installations, nothing. It is the message. You don't adulterate it.
And it's easy to access, right, through the Orlando regional site?
Yeah, just go to the site or go to the Facebook page, and there's a YouTube page now for Uplift with Cliff. And I've got association presidents now, AEs and CEOs. Yeah, you just go to the Facebook page, and we do it religiously every Monday morning at 9:30. It's for 30 minutes. Come in, get a positive message for the week, and then go back out.
Yeah, you see, so part of that too, Cliff, is you don't have to advertise. You don't have to say anything. The fact that it's there, if people, if they're interested, they're going to check it out. They're going to see who is Cliff, what's he doing, and you don't have to say anything. The performance itself drives it. No, that's great.
Hey, Cliff, we had an announcement in Realty Times about the launch of your new TV station. Very cool. In fact, I'm going to turn it over to Saul now, and he can maybe dig into that a little bit.
Let's rock and roll, fellas.
Yeah, it sounds great. It's great to be with you, Cliff. It's always good to see you. I know association executives, CEOs across the country, and I have a lot of favorites, but it's always fun to talk to you because you're on the cutting edge all the time, right? You're watching, you're seeing, you're trying to figure out how to take the assets of the organization and use it for the benefit of the members. And I was really excited to see this Florida Real Estate TV network thing. So tell us about that, because that's a really hot idea from where we sit.
Thank you. So this is a concept I came up with several years back, and it was from taking a good look at what was happening in our industry, in particular at the disruptors. You see, what I was noticing from a media and television standpoint, and I'm going to relate it here, is other people were telling our story. I would turn on a TV and look at a TV show, and I see people are searching for a house, then they're searching for a much smaller house, maybe a tiny one, then they're looking for one internationally, then they're flipping houses, flipping Houston, flipping Vegas, flipping San Antonio, flipping New York, flipping Los Angeles. Guys, it was 24 hours of MLS TV.
MLS TV, that's a great phrase. MLS TV. Years ago, I thought of something called MLS PI, MLS Private Investigators, because
Right.
yeah, right. And when I heard you say this, MLS TV, it's like a light bulb when I say that's exactly what all these people are doing. They're imitating MLS TV.
Yes, they're taking, listen, a house is chosen, a house is rehabbed, a house is sold, and then they put a storyline behind it. And I thought to myself, I've got 18,000 storylines. Why am I letting someone else tell my story? You see, that's where we have failed in our industry. We're always letting someone else beat us to the punch,
Yeah.
telling our story. And the consumers end up going to that group or that person instead of us. And we sit there with our lips poked out, waiting for mama to do something for us to defend us in the industry. Forget that crap. Go out and do it on your own. Lift yourself up by your own bootstraps. So I took the concept of I can tell my own story. I don't need someone else to tell my story for me. Every realtor that comes in my building has a new story about a new client, about a new listing. Why, Saul, come on, help me here. Why let someone else make $1 billion?
No reason.
Hold on. And
Their stories aren't even as good as your stories.
Exactly. And hold on. And then they look you in the eye saying, I'm going to go get your members to come on my show and tell their story and not give you one lick of credit for it. And you're going to like it. Now, how do you like that, Cliff? They look you in the eye, and there's certain words I can't use to describe it, but we had it back in the day. And then after they through doing that to you, then they back off, take your money and make $1 billion doing it. So when I took a good look at that, as soon as I got to Orlando, I hustled down to the local news television network, and I got the executives in there, and I asked one question: is there still a thirst and hunger for local television shows? Meaning, if I created a show featuring our community, will people tune in? They said absolutely. And not only that, once I pitched the TV network and on my concept, the very next week or 2 weeks later or so, they brought a group, an advertising group from the same network in from Houston, flew them in to hear my concept. Once I pitched it, they showed me and told me, Cliff, we want it. And then immediately I took it back. No way I'm letting somebody else make money off of my idea and concept. Once I knew from the experts that it would work, I said I'll develop it on my own. At that point in time, I started reaching out to producers, directors, people who worked at some major networks with shows that you see on TV, contracting them, asking them would they come in and do it for me. And that's where we shot our first sizzle reel well over a year ago. And the sizzle reel was to give me something to show our board of directors with regards to us creating our own television network and taking the money and our resources and building our own set of shows. And I'm no longer gonna let somebody else have my show and then they go get their own advertisers. Well, what do you think affiliates are? What do you think partners are? I said, no, you're going to sell me the whole block of time. I don't want 15, 20 minutes for you to chop up and make a 30-minute show. Give me 4 hours on the network and I'm going to run my own series of shows. I'll produce a show where we look for houses. I'll produce a show where we talk about international houses. I'll produce a show that talks about government and what we do. I'll produce my own show and then I'll sell my own ads on my own network. I was taught by a pastor a long time ago. He said, Brother Cliff, there are two types of people. There are producers and there's consumers. Which one are you? Are you going to be a producer or are you going to always be a consumer? Letting some, you're always hunting and looking. And so several years ago, I underwent a mentality change, and that's where the innovation comes from. No longer will I be a consumer. I will be the producer. In the Orlando Regional Realtor Association, we're going to produce. This is a different mindset. Let these other guys go out there and let somebody else tell their story. I'm going to tell my own story.
But so here it is, Cliff. We all know this now. Stories are it. And we've known this for a long time, but now even Instagram, and they're all about stories. So stories are critical. People like stories. And through an MLS as large as yours, an association as large as yours, you have, and everybody's interested in real estate. So the stories that revolve around all these different aspects of real estate that you're an expert on, and these people from the outside, they're not, they're novices. They're putting shows together and they're novices. The degree and the quality and the things that you're going to be able to do. Now I'm thinking about, this is part of the real estate association of the future. It's telling the story of real estate to the world.
That's hold on. Okay. Saul, you got me excited here. Listen. Okay. Remember I told you that old story? Well, that old pastor taught me a couple of other things about reaching people. And one of the things he said, hey, Brother Cliff, he said, I'm going to tell you something else. He said, don't ever let anything come between you and God. I said, why is that, Pastor? He said, because anything that comes between you and God is closer to God than you are. Don't you ever let anything get closer to God than you. You have your own relationship. And I said, wow. Well, Saul, let me tell you something. Don't ever let anything come between you and your members. Don't ever let anything come between you and your consumer. Because, hold on, light bulb, anything that comes between you and the consumer is closer to the consumer than you are.
That's wisdom.
So what has happened in our industry? Aggregators, disruptors got between us and the consumer. And how did they do it? They told a more compelling story about their pricing. They told a more compelling story about their listings. They told a more compelling, are you following me here? But hey, guess what? We lost this battle long before the aggregators, because on television, people have been telling our story for well over 10 years, 15 years. So now this is how the principle of running the Orlando Association and how we're going to govern ourselves in the future. No one else tells my story. No one comes between me and the consumers. If I have to invest every last dollar, our association will be seen by the consumers and thusly our realtors as the preeminent starting place for buying and selling a home, the preeminent starting place for buying and selling a commercial business. And we're going to do so because we're going to be the storytellers.
Yep. And you're going to be in everybody's life. So now you become the center of the conversation. Right. And so you've got people are interested. This is going to build trust. This is going to build rapport between realtors and the public. It's going to, right, over time, there are all kinds of what I see positive, unforeseen consequences that are going to be derived from this.
Put something in front of them to get their attention and hold it, and then learn what they look at, see, we're doing something extra here. When people go to the site and they look at the show, not only are we getting them to watch the show, but we're actually also capturing their data. I'm capturing what else they're looking at. I'm capturing what they're shopping for. I'm capturing what other home. You see, I just created my own lead generation tool, because using predictive analytics, along with the fact that I'm holding their attention, I can, I'm giving away too much.
You're building consumer profiles.
Yes. It's a whole the next generation of consumer profiles, predictive analytics. All these things are happening in the background while we captivate them mentally and take back our place in front of the consumer.
Take back your future. I love it. Now, you know, you think about being able to service them. Have you thought about a membership category for consumers at the association?
Many of them would love that. You know, hey, listen.
Well, who else supports real estate for property owners other than realtors?
No one. We are the beginning and the end, the alpha and omega, and we do nothing to cultivate the relationship and keep it going. But that's what the television is doing.
Well, now, if you told the consumer all the great things the association does, and that includes working with the government on behalf of the consumer and the property owner, that's a huge thing. And you guys, I think you're doing that too, right? That's a part of this.
Exactly. So we're gonna show the consumers everything that the realtors do. I'm taking the whole real estate lifestyle and encapsulating it into a television network, but not from the boring aspect that you would think. We're putting a storyline behind it. I'm going to put a storyline. When you look at what we ask elected officials on a government affair, I'm not asking the pansy questions about this or that. I'm saying, hey, look, how did George Floyd hit you? Hey, how did COVID hit you? Hey, what's going on with the highway? When are we going to get that back? Because that's what consumers want to hear. Well, you know, what's going on with our roads? What's going on with our education system? How can we as realtors help? That's what consumers want to hear, the real deal about government affairs. And then when you look at Selling Orlando is not the crazy story of this and that. No, you're going to get a perspective of what the actual agents were thinking while they're talking. That's the side the consumers want. They want the reality TV side, not the, oh, it was great working with Jan and John. No,
Exactly.
They want the cutaway that's going to eventually say, look, I knew right then that these weren't going to be good clients. We knew just then because they weren't serious about the home. And if you don't know that a consumer will sit and watch that 24/7, you're crazy. When they can see both agents saying, look, I wanted to ask them if they're pre-qualified, but I knew not to. You know, when you start hitting and it's gripping and you're talking to them about the real process, you have people tuning in, watching it all night long. And then it's just going to be up to us to build enough body of work on the network to keep things going.
It's going to become entertainment. It's going to first, right? It's going to become entertainment, and people are going to watch it not because they're buying a house necessarily, because they're entertained. And while they're entertained, you're going to teach them something, and you're going to teach them something positive, and it's going to be about the industry and the people that serve them. And Cliff, this is a great idea, and even more so, the execution, as you know, that's the tough thing, and you're executing on this.
Right. So the execution, Saul, you're a great interviewer. Your lead-ins are awesome. So the execution is the next step. So as with any television show, you have to have proof of concept. You can't just go and start shooting 50 seasons and no one wants to watch. So the first proof of concept happened when I went to the ad execs to ask them, is this viable? After that, what happens next is we say, okay, I took the idea to the board of directors, and I also brought in the production company. We showed them the sizzle reel, which they absolutely loved. Well, it didn't cost much to shoot that. After that, the board says, okay, well, what we need to do next, and the producers, excuse me, is we need to shoot the pilot episode, proof of concept, and see and prove even to ourselves that we can get this done. Once we have the pilot episode, we tied that to views and feedback. So even on the network, you have a chance to let us know that you like the show. Well, that creates an email that dovetails right back to my board of directors, because I created a reverse call for action. I wasn't going to make it so that Cliff's asking you for $1 million. I'm going to let the consumers tell you that they want that. So we created, everyone that clicks on that email, it creates a reverse call for action. It goes to our board of directors so that they can see. And so now, instead of hearing from realtors, my directors are actually getting the holy grail. They're going to see that consumers are saying, we want this show in our metro area and worldwide. And then they can decide how they want to spend their money. And at that point, after they get that, then we talk about shooting the entire season. And we plan it out, we storyboard it, we script it, and we go into production. After the board of directors approves it, which I anticipate will be first thing in January.
Well, so now you've done this, right? So up to this point, so you've got a process that got you to where you are, and you've got a process for moving forward. And as I said, I think that this is really becomes a core service of an association. And other associations are going to want to do this because it, like you said, this tells the story. This does everything that associations spend all this money on year after year, and they never get any result from it because we always say, what's our biggest problem? No communication.
Yes.
So what if other associations, they like this idea and they would like to move out on this path? Are you looking to venture with them and to work with them? Because I can see this nationwide, every place, local shows everywhere,
You got it, Saul.
California.
The goal of the Florida Real Estate Network is to produce a cable TV grade production capable of being duplicated anywhere in the United States. So yes, right now our production studios, and I'll go into a little bit about that. Our team and our people are ready to go anywhere. After I take care of home first, then we're going to launch out and we can shoot shows and create this network. The same idea in Chicago, we can duplicate it in California, we can duplicate it in all over the world. So we actually have a subsidiary corporation called OREN, the Orlando Regional Real Estate Network. It's a subsidiary corporation. It's not the Association of Realtors. And the network is a for-profit subsidiary. So it's time to get into business now, which is an entirely new philosophy. We're so busy being not-for-profits that we've forgotten that we're sovereign businesses within our cities and our states, and that we should be acting, and that doing that is in the best interest of our members, because doing that helps keep dues down and keeps our organization profitable. So the for-profit subsidiary corporation is called OREN, and the production TV, the studio, the network, all of those are I should say arms or outreaches of OREN, and we can go anywhere and shoot television for anyone. So Orlando, we're taking the magic that creates Disney, the magic that creates television, and all those things that America is used to seeing it, and we created our own production entity that can go anywhere, shoot anything, and empower associations of realtors. Listen, the only thing that's going to take back our industry is how well we market ourselves, and getting back in the face and in the trust of the consumer. If you don't get, I'm going to go back to it, Brother Cliff, never let anything come between you and God, because anything that comes between you and God is closer to God than you are, and you don't ever let anything get closer to God. Saul, don't ever let anything come between you and the consumer, because anything that comes between you and the consumer is closer to the consumer than you are, and don't you ever let anything get closer to your consumer than you are. And if any realtor association out there worldwide, if you get this message, give me a call, because it's time for us to take back our industry and go in a new direction by any means necessary.
So I think you're right on, Cliff. And just an added touch, it's local.
Yes.
It's local. And that's such a critical point these days.
And it's local that turns global. So all these local associations have people. If you're in Los Angeles, Atlanta, Miami, New York, people are moving into your community. So all you've got to, if you focus and do your local well, people all over the world are watching. You're giving them the reasons why I should buy in New York, why buy in Manhattan, why move and relocate my company to Lexington, why move to Charleston. You're answering it for them. Just by taking care of home in today's digital age, the entire world is watching. So why are you consistently letting someone else tell your story?
So this is part of your strategy, your outreach strategy, right? And this is part of the vision of your association. You're moving in that direction, and it's unfortunate many associations don't see this, right? They don't see that they need to move in this kind of direction. The people in Orlando, your folks, are very lucky, right?
Saul, it's me who's lucky to have those folks. When I came to Orlando, I had a group of directors and realtor leaders who were ready to do something different. They knew that they were in the most visited city on earth, but we were highly underachieving, and that it was time for us to take our place among the preeminent organizations in the realtor world. And I also told them, I don't care what other people are doing. I don't care what they're doing in Tampa or Lexington or Jackson, Mississippi. I don't care what they're doing in Chicago or Los Angeles, because we're behind. Why do I care if we're 20 years behind as an industry, what the board next door to me is doing? Don't bring me that anymore. So our directors, our acronym is WOD. What's Aura doing? And that's our hashtag. What are we doing? Not Memphis, not Nashville, not Birmingham, not any of these, because we're behind. Somebody else is telling our story. So why are we competing with people we should be leading? And so, yes, that's the philosophy. It's not cockiness. It's just an acceptance of where you are as an industry and saying, now let's do better. One of my greatest criticisms is if you've ever pictured a mama bird and a nest of birds, you look at a bird nest and all the little birds are cheep, 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 cheep. They're sitting there and they have their mouths open and they're waiting on mama to go out and kill something, grab a worm or a cricket, and then come and drop that cricket down in their mouth. That's how we are with our national association. You're sovereign individual businesses in independent cities with your own business license, your own charter, your own everything, and you're sitting down waiting on someone to drop something in your mouth. Please help us with the disruptors. Please help us with the aggregators. Please help us with the new business models. Close your mouth, get out and fly. Fly out the freaking nest and build your own nest. If our associations don't adopt that mindset in 2020 moving forward, we won't be here 10 years from now.
But you know what? I agree. I think that associations are at risk. I think MLSs are at risk today.
Yes.
And I never would have said that before. I'm a realtor. I've been a realtor for over 40 years, right? And I never would have said that, but I'm telling you today, I'm watching all this and I think they're at risk. And what you've got is something that is taking the strengths of the organization,
yes,
and using them to carve out that spot in the future.
that's it. Saul, that's exactly what I'm doing. Listen, when I say strengths of the organization, remember, that's the people. I'm not going out with our funds and say we need to open jewelry stores. I'm not going out and saying, hey, let's invest in car lots or that new Tesla. No, everything we're doing is around the expertise of something we're already doing.
Yeah.
Come on. It's around the expertise of something we're already doing. I'm taking the strengths of my members. When I look at my presidents, my past presidents, my global members, my RPAC guys, and I look at them and I say, I can build a whole business on that. I can tell that story. You mean you did what? You were in the war and you served 30 years in the Navy, and I've got members here. Oh, that's an entirely different story. We can bring the military into this. What do you mean? So you're from Brazil and this is your second language, and you overcome that and now you're a naturalized citizen. I can build a whole story around people from other countries coming, and the community, it's local, will tune into it. Why are we letting somebody else tell our story? So if nothing else happens, we're going to get good over the next 10 years or 5 years or 3 years in Orlando at telling our story.
Yeah, so this is so great because what we see are advertisements about being a realtor, right? There's an attempt, right? There is an attempt, and for years now that's all we see, and so now you're talking about, again, critical, taking the human element, taking the story, and it comes locally. It comes from the local organization. It's of interest to the local community, and that's who you serve. And the idea, and this is something that a lot of us, for some reason, this has gotten lost over the years. Every local association is a separate corporate entity.
Yeah.
It's a separate corporate entity. Oh, people say, oh, NAR, wait a minute. These are all separate corporate, NAR will do this. Wait a minute. These are all separate corporate entities, right?
Listen, Saul, I have a message for my counterparts and other people. Ask not what NAR can do for you, but what you can do for NAR. Yeah. You see, if it's the mindset of sitting down waiting on them, and they do an excellent job, and I'm 100% supporter, but the mindset of being dependent your whole life, listen, man, Orlando will be 100 years old tomorrow. I mean, next year. When are we going to grow up? The next 100 years? What's the mindset? So, if Kennedy said, ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country, I want everybody to ask not what your association can do for you, but what you can do for your association. Bring me your storylines. Bring me your special circumstances. Bring me your odd sales. Bring me your tales of what you fought through. Bring me your elected officials. Bring me all of these people and watch me put something out there that consumers can get behind. The philosophy and the mindset of our organizations has to change. You are an individual sovereign business. Now act like one.
Yeah. Yeah, you are a separate corporate entity, and the big identified piece here, Cliff, is consumer visibility. Consumer visibility in an entertaining way over time, that story will get told. And, you know, I think about this. It's like this, like people know about Bitcoin, people know
Mhm.
about blockchain, people
Yeah.
know that it's also it's called distributed database. It's distributed. No longer is all the power in one place. It's distributed. That's what local associations are. They're like the blockchain, right?
So let me ask you a question. So when and here's a theoretical question, but it's intended to cause the mind to work. So once all the property titles are out there on blockchain, and all the mortgages are out there on blockchain, and all the information is out there on blockchain, will people still subscribe to an MLS to get what's out on the free market?
Well, so that's a great question, Cliff. And when I said that I believe that MLSs and associations are at risk, you're kind of leading me down that very path. That's the conversation I would have with you, right?
So because out of respect for my MLS, I'll forego that pivot, and I'll just say this: innovate or die.
Yeah. So it's good that you're looking at it. It's good that I'm looking at it. It's good that we're thinking about it. And it's good that we're thinking about it realistically, that it could happen, because only then will we come up with solutions.
Yes, and that's the whole point of the Orlando Regional Real Estate Network. That's the whole point of the subsidiary corporation. I hope that the light at the end of the tunnel is the end of the tunnel. But just in case that light at the end of the tunnel is a train, I'm gonna make sure that I own my industry, whether or not other people are participating or not. I'm gonna make sure in Orlando, this organization that was the Association of Realtors, this organization that used to be realtors, but now it's protecting real estate interests. I want us to be around the next 100 years. And no, I'm not predicting doom and gloom. I'm just talking about my moral responsibility to my people to make sure that this organization is around and viable and is lobbying and is taking care of the real estate interests for the next 100 years.
No, that's a great attitude, Cliff, because one of the things I say is the foundation of the organization is that associations have a perpetual existence.
Yes.
And sometimes our leaders, they forget that. It's got a perpetual existence. That means that you're built on the shoulders of the giants who came before you, and you've got to make sure it's still there for the people who are ahead that are coming down the pike, right? So this perpetual existence idea of your organization, and you're serving that concept of perpetual existence.
Down to the staff. Everyone that's there now has to be forward thinking. Everyone that's there now has to be understand that I don't want to do what we did the last 100 years. I don't want to do what we did. I didn't come to Orlando to do what I did in Birmingham. I didn't go to Birmingham to do what I did at the Emerald Coast. If you're not living, you're dying. If you're not moving forward, then you're headed towards the grave. And so we have a staff now that is forward thinking. I have some of the best staff people in the world, and they're planning on some things, Saul, that I can only tell you under NDA, that I could never tell you. But I tell you this, we're getting ready. My goal is to shock the world. I have the best leadership. I have a line of leaders that you absolutely would not believe. And I have plans for each of them going out 5 years, down to my secretary. I know what I'm going to be doing with that secretary 4 years from now. And the treasurer, I know exactly what I'm going to launch during the treasurer's year, and the president-elect. And they know, and they see the vision, and they know that we're going to have these different things and this wheel and spoke, and that there's going to be multiple companies, and that we're going to build a conglomerate like the other billion-dollar TV people have done off of our industry. We're going to tell our own story.
Yeah, you have a strategy, right?
Yes.
So you actually, it's not lip service to you. You actually have created a strategy. You've even gone so far probably as to name each year with some kind of vision or mission. So next year is this, and the next year is this, and the next year, and your position, because that type of organization is going to get things done because people know where they stand.
Right, and we're going to keep on rolling it out. And you know, the most important thing was getting the leadership and the members to the mindset of, so what if it fails? We don't fail, we learn. They fail. We don't fail, we learn. So what? Our responsibility to the members is that they see us fog the dadgum mirror. Our responsibility to the members is that they see us advocate. Listen, advocacy is not an RPAC word. Advocate means being wherever you're supposed to be to advocate on behalf of these members when you're supposed to be there. If that's in China, if that's globally in Brazil, if that's at NAR, if it's at the conventions, my members know, I don't care if we fail. Failure is not trying. Failure is me getting back in that nest, tilting my head up and opening my mouth and waiting on the state association or the national association to drop something in there. Failure is expecting these members to give me their money every January and giving them absolutely nothing back in return for the next 11 months. That's failure. So we're going to fail forward. If this is a bust, hey, for the 8,000 people that loved it, that was for you. If the next endeavor is a bust, you keep on fighting. You never give up and you fight forward. And it's like, you know what it's like. It's the battlefield. Every inch counts. Every step counts. Every crawl counts. Every roll counts. And that's what they're going to see out of us at the association, man. We're going to move forward. And what everybody else is doing, I absolutely don't care.
Nope. Because you can measure, and you're building social capital.
Yeah.
Everything you do, you're building it. Sometimes people can't see that kind of capital. That's what you're doing. You're building it. No, Cliff, it's great. But well, before we sign off here, anything that you'd like to say to us? I think I want everybody to get a hold of you because I like the vision that you've got, and I think people need to talk to you more about it.
Well, everybody can reach me. I have the easiest email address, Cliff L, last name long, Cliff L at Orlando Realtors with an S on the end.org. Cliff L at OrlandoRealtors.org. If you're interested in doing something innovative or new for your association, if you'd like to see yourselves up on that big screen, let me and my team work with you, and we'll help you craft something. Obviously, we do this. We're learning how to do this as a profession because we want to get good. But I can tell you this, our show went out. It's reaching a couple 100,000 people. Our phones are ringing. The goal of this is to make rock stars out of our realtors in their local community. But we will work with anybody. And don't be afraid to fail. Don't be afraid to listen. Everybody out there, they're going to talk about you anyway. You may as well give them something to talk about. They're going to talk. I think Mr. October, Reggie Jackson, once said, people don't boo losers. Okay? People don't boo losers. And what that means is that they're talking because you're significant. They're talking because you did something. Now, get beyond what they have to say and become an expert at it. And also, listen, when COVID's up, there'll be something else, y'all. There'll be the next pandemic, epidemic, global scare. How long are you going to stay worried about it? Make yourself an expert at COVID. Become the expert at it. Become the expert at running your association during COVID times. Quit running, quit hiding. Get out there and live this life. Don't you let these little things that happen in life cause you to hide and run and be afraid. Hey, social distance, cover your mouth, wash your hands. Be the best at that while conducting your business. You've got to live this life. You're going to get one life and you're going to have to give an account for it one day. So live it and absolutely squeeze everything you can out of it. That's my message to everybody out there.
Well, I couldn't have said it better, Cliff. Thank you so much for taking the time and spending some time with us. It's always great to see you. We'll have to get together sometime after this COVID thing's done.
Man, I can't wait. And be ready. I'll send you my NDA first because
you got it.
You see where we go next.
I'll be looking for it. I'll be looking for it. Right?
Hey, Cliff, you made me think of that movie, When Harry Meets Sally. I'll have what he had.
Yeah. Man, I got a good dose of the Lord, man. I'm a blessed man. We've come this far by faith, and look at us at what we've done, and we have nothing to do but march forward. Stop hiding, stop running, live this life, man. It's beautiful. We've seen so much in America. This is not our first time seeing civil unrest. This is not our first virus. We've seen all this. All we have is the media focusing on it. We have outlived so much of this. Let's go out and live our lives and love on each other, man. And go get some sunshine, some vitamin D, and go hug some grandchildren and go love forward and live forward and walk forward. Hey, man, I'm just thankful to be here, and I'm thankful to be on your show.
Yep. Well, we're thankful to have you. Thankful for our friendship and for the time that we've been able to spend over the years together, Cliff. It's fun watching you grow.
Really great.
Well, listen. the next 100's coming. Get your NDA.
Send it to me. I'll sign it.
Hey, the new motto song is "So Sue Me." So sue me. We're not going to march backwards. So
There you
sue
go.
me. We're not
Perfect.
going backwards.
Well, we're with you. If we can do anything to help you, you let us know. We'll write something up here. We'll put this out. We'll get you some exposure. We'll push it down a couple of different channels that we got. And if you got something and you think you want to push it out, send it to us. We'll push it out.
Absolutely, I'll do so. And you guys plan on coming down to Orlando on vacation in a couple of days and meet our new marketing team. And when I say I got some exciting things to show you, this TV stuff, I started this in 2014. This is old hat. It's just time. We've got some other stuff that we're going to do that to promulgate real estate and break down barriers that I'm really proud of. And more so, I'm proud of my staff and my realtor leadership. When I tell you I've got a group of leaders coming down the pike that I'm excited about, they're going to be good. They're going to be really good.
That's great. That used to be a problem with associations, was grooming leadership, huh? So that's great though.
Listen, I wake up every day and give them a good, healthy dose of love, a good, healthy dose of positivity so that they can see that, like I told you, your peers are going to talk anyway. Yep. You may as well get out and do something. What if you fail? What if you fail? So what? Who died? Did you die? You tried something new? You lost a few dollars. And so my new leadership, they're believers in free enterprise. They're believers in capitalism. They're believers in making money. They're believers that so much meat has been left on the bone for us to go out. And while the rest of the world is waiting on Mama Bear to drop something in their mouth, man, let's go out there and jump in this flow ourselves. We got our own business.
Yeah, you got all the power. Matter of fact, you do. You got all the power. You got all the assets. It's a matter of utilizing it.
You really do.
No.
Dude, you really do.
Yeah.
Let me just give you a novel concept. I tell my leaders all the time, we're the only people that are in the real estate business, but we ain't in real estate. We should be the #1 property owners in every city in America. We don't even invest in property. And a lot of boards do, and kudos to them. But you ever think about the fact that we shouldn't even be worried about dues? If we had just taken the basic philosophy of investing in real estate 10 years ago as organizations, you'd have so much income property now and assets you never needed to raise dues. Duh.
The association should be that we create enough data and information in our industry that there should not be dues. The people that do all the work to create all that, they're not, and you're right, other people benefit from it. So this could easily be an industry where there are no dues, where the activities fund the organization. And if you're headed in that direction, I'm behind you 100%.
Well, that's part of Vision 2030, the prevailing plan behind it. In 10 years, I want to get us off the due structure. In 10 years, I want to reproduce our income and continue to do so that I never have to raise dues again. And I create a reverse stair-step mindset, meaning the longer you are a member of the organization, the less you pay. So if you come in at 1 year, you pay $350. At 5 years, you're paying $250. At 10 years, you're paying $150 because you've paid into the organization. And by the time you're in this thing, 15, 20 years, you don't pay dues anymore because your money invested wisely is making money and paying for your dues.
Yep. Well, it takes 40 years to get to that point with NAR. I'm at that level with NAR. I don't have to pay NAR dues anymore. 40 years.
Well, congratulations to you. I just want us to stop the dependency. NAR has done a masterful job of keeping us all in business. But when do you grow up? See, I don't have an NAR knock. NAR is great. They're great. They protect our industry. But when do you grow up, man? When do you become sovereign? When do you become able to walk on your own and ride your own bike and drive your own car?
Well, and maybe, Cliff, some of the things that NAR has done in the past, just maybe in the future, it won't be allowed to do it anymore. And it needs to be searching itself for its next chapter.
Yeah. Hey, and that could totally be true. I told you that light is either the light at the end of the tunnel or it's a train. And we've got to, I'll give you an analogy. This is one I gave my board of directors and all of my boards. We always talk about the travel agents and extinction and all that, but let me put this in another way that people can understand. You pick up your cell phone and you type in your search for your app search, you type in travel, and you're going to get Expedia, you're going to get Travelocity, you're going to get Kayak, you're going to get cheap tickets, cheap flight, you're going to get all that. But what doesn't come up first all the time is Delta. What doesn't come up first anymore is Amtrak. What doesn't come up first anymore is United. Why? Because those third-party aggregators are soundly in that spot, and they're not going anywhere. They are in there to stay. And guess what, Saul? You don't even mind buying that Delta flight through Travelocity and saving $100. You have no more loyalty to the airlines than you ever did. Well, now, pick up that same phone and type in real estate. And what will come up first is this, and I can't name names, you know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
What will come up first is this, what will come up is this, but realtor and your local brokers won't come up first. And guess what? The consumer doesn't even care. They don't even care about using that third-party aggregator or whatever to help find their home. But 10 years ago they did. 20 years ago they did. Your death is in your hands already, and you're typing it in every day. Your extinction is right in front of you, and you're helping it every. And your data's being taken, and it's being sold, and it's being sent, and the next big brother's making $1 billion off of you, and you're helping them every day. The revolution has already happened. You missed it.
Yeah.
You missed. You're not ahead of it, everybody. You already missed it. It occurred. You're trying to fight a fight that's been won. Ask Travelocity, ask Expedia. It's over. What are you fighting for? What do you want Mama Bear to do for you? It's over.
Yeah.
You better diversify, change your game, and go out and fight tomorrow's battle, not today's battle. We get together, come to our conventions, and talk about battles that were lost 5 years ago. And
yeah, and there are new battles. See, that's the thing. There are some really big new battles brewing.
Yes, there are. And you better get out ahead of them.
And so people need to start paying attention to what's going on, because when the changes hit, it's going to take a lot of people by surprise.
Look, I just by nature, I have AT&T. Well, let's talk about this. But in 1984, a divestiture happened, and they broke up the monopoly. And when that happened, that gave Ma Bell had to turn it loose. Yep. And that gave rise to the MCIs, the Sprints, and the other small CLEC companies. Well, you are witnessing 1984 happening all over again. It's happening before you. And as you sit there waiting on whoever to do whatever for you, it's happening before your very eyes.
It is. And
I can't get 5 people to, because they think I'm some conspiracy theorist. They think that I'm standing on a corner. Wait, no. I don't even go to the meetings anymore. It's a done deal. I don't even read that's done. Don't you realize you're negotiating battles that have been fought and lost? And so, Saul, I'm trying to help a few people, and sometimes they think I'm Chicken Little, and so I don't hang with the crowds, and I don't try to get on everybody's committee, and I worry about me and my little house. And when people call, I give them some sound advice that, and then others who are stalwarts they make you to be Chicken Little, but it is what it is. Pick up your phone and type in your brokerage and see if that comes up first in the App Store. And if it does, call me wrong. But if yours did come up first in the App Store, you better have a plan.
Yeah, no, it is changing. There's just some amazing stuff going to happen. People aren't even going to believe it. So, well, hey, Cliff, again, I appreciate the time that you've given us this morning. And like I said, let us know how we can promote you, how we can get this word out there for you. You guys are probably creating marketing pieces and things. If you do and you think it's a good piece, then send it to us, and then we'll take it and kind of advertorialize it, right? So it's a generic message and push it out for you.
Consider us partners in 21, brother. We're going to get this stuff out to you. We'll let you know what's going on. And I would like to say this. In November 22, the national convention is coming to Orlando.
Mhm.
And we're going to be we're also building a brand new Taj Mahal 45,000 square foot realtor headquarters in Orlando, here, my city. And we want you guys all to be a part of the ribbon cutting. Nationwide, we want NAR officials to be there, Florida Realtors officials to be there. We're going to cut the ribbon on our new building for the 2022 NAR convention here in Orlando.
You let us
And
know when that is.
it's going to be on I-4, the main highway, a sight for the world to see.
Perfect. Perfect. I remember that old FAR building down there by the airport, right? You come out under.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right there.
So they're still a gorgeous building, good staff down there. They're still down there chugging away, doing great work for Florida. But we wanted something that, we're a destination city.
Yep.
And at some point in time, every realtor in America, like Mecca, makes their trip to Orlando, either through the convention or to bring your children. So we decided not to just build a building somewhere in an obscure neighborhood, build something that the next 100 years of realtors can be proud of. So right there right off of I-4 where you can see it, you're going to see one of the tallest buildings in that section of town. It'll be the Realtor building, and it's going to be state of the art, innovative, something for realtors nationwide to be proud of.
That's great. I love that. I love it. That's great. Well, thanks again, Cliff. Appreciate the time.
All right,
Let's do this more often. When you have something you think that you need to tell the world about, let us know.
And John, you need to know I love you, my brother. I miss seeing you guys at the conventions, and I will chat with you guys later on.
Sounds good.
Just give
Have
me
a great
virtual
weekend.
hug.
All right, take care. Bye-bye.